This is clearly an important species we're dealing with, and I don't think that you or I or anybody has the right to arbitrarily exterminate them.
Wrong.
Yeah, watch us.
Hey, maybe you haven't been keeping up on current events, but we just got our asses kicked, pal.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff.
And this is a very important week. It is the very first week of a very important month. It is a month that was made for me, but not my idea. It was Chelsea's idea. She's a genius.
Chelsea has so many good ideas.
She has so many good ideas. And this one is perfect. It's Alien Month, baby. Insert alien sound here.
That's what sci-fi sounds like, I'm pretty sure. I've watched some sci-fi.
I've met an alien and they sounded exactly like that. So that was spot on.
I heard at today's congressional hearings, they said that that's what aliens sound like. So
I was like, our government has also met aliens. Therefore, they know that that's exactly what they sound like.
No, it's true. It's true. I definitely was on C-SPAN for that. I don't know. I know all about the congressional hearing.
Don't worry. I only knew about it because there was a Jezebel article that once again raised the question, would you vote an alien? And so that's what I saw when I started to be like, oh, there's a congressional hearing about aliens today.
Oh, I knew it was happening because we follow a alien podcast on our Spooky Tuesday account. And they posted a video of AOC being like, so there's going to be this thing about aliens. And then I was like, that sounds great. But also I'm busy. And so I didn't watch the rest of it.
Yeah.
So I didn't get the date and time. Damn. But anyway, it's Alien Month. It's very timely. It's incredibly timely. And we're starting it off with a movie that I love so much, though I've only seen it. This is now only the second time I've seen it. But it's a classic. It's almost the name of the month, but it's the sequel. It's Aliens, the 1986 movie. And I'm just going to read the little IMDb logline right now. Get it out of the way. Decades after surviving the Nostromo incident, Ellen Ripley is sent out to reestablish contact with a terraforming colony, but finds herself battling the alien queen and her offspring.
Dun, dun, dun.
Whoa. They kind of give a little away, but I don't feel like it's too spoilery. I think it's okay.
Yeah, referencing the alien queen is annoying, but you know, you kind of know from the name
there's
aliens,
kind of an implied
that there's going to be a lot more aliens. And it makes sense after the first one where there's all those eggs there that they would be like, the eggs must be coming from somewhere, right? So of course,
a queen is sort of implied, I guess, bee
what
colony
came
style.
First? The chicken or the egg is the age-old question. What came first, the big alien queen or the alien egg? And I don't know that answer. That's something philosophical we can't discuss at this time. It's too hot out to discuss something that deep. But anyway, I really had a great time watching this movie. It is totally an action movie, whereas like Alien is like the scariest horror movie ever for some people. Maybe me. I don't know. It's fucking terrifying. But this is such a big, like, tonal shift. It's so fucking funny. Like, Bill Paxton, may he rest in peace, is unbelievable in this movie.
You know what I realized, though? I'm trying to think of a clever name on this spot. All I've got is Double Bill something. But this is now the second time that we have done a Bill Paxton movie immediately following a Bill Pullman movie. Because back when we did Romance Month in February, we had Casper with Bill Pullman and then Near Dark with Bill Paxton. And now we just did Lake Placid with Bill Pullman last week. And now Bill Paxton in this movie. So something
I've got it.
Here.
Bill.
They're doing a woogity across. That's great. I love it.
TwosWeeks. It's really good. Yeah, I know.
Welcome to Billsy 2 Week. It's a double feature with Alien Month. They're coinciding.
Bill on Bill. Oh, I paid to see that.
Here's
also.
the thing. Technically, even if it is aliens, it is another creature feature.
There we go.
They
Aliens
do
are
be creatures,
bitch.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm glad you brought up Romance Week or month, excuse me. Because doing Near Dark was so much fun. We did it with Homies of Horror. If you haven't checked that one out, but I just loved watching Aliens again after seeing Near Dark because
Mhm.
3 of the characters are in that movie together. So Bill Paxton, Jeanette Goldstein, who plays Private Vasquez in this, and Lance Henriksen, who plays Bishop. All 3 of them are in Near Dark, and they're the fucking vampire crew, and they're so fucking sick. And then they
That's
are
so
equally sick in
interesting.
this. They're
I didn't
so
realize
fun in this.
Vasquez was. I'm assuming the other
Yeah,
lady vampire.
Vasquez is the lady vampire with the big, like, blonde
hair.
Yeah.
That's so
Wow.
interesting because I was looking at Lance Henriksen's IMDb trying to be like, I was thinking about you recently. I saw your name recently. Where do I know you from? And I guess I didn't scroll far enough back because I was like, it was something recent, but maybe my brain just harkened all the way back to February. Who can say?
Well, yeah, I think it was actually you who brought up that they all 3 were in Aliens, and I couldn't
at the
remember.
time. I'm
Yeah,
sure that
at
was
the
in my
time you brought
IMDb
it up.
trivia.
Yeah, because I had no idea, because I mean, like, Jeanette looks way different in this. Like, she's just styled like a hot butch lesbian in this
Love
movie,
it.
and it's
Obsessed with
fucking
it.
awesome, and she looks so good. And she also is giving gay in Near Dark, but in a
As
very different way.
Diamondback.
In a very different way. Diamondback. Oh,
What a great name.
incredible. If you all haven't seen Near Dark, like, I know you've seen Aliens, but you haven't seen Near Dark, fucking watch it. It's so fun. I really liked it. I liked
was
it
fun.
most though. So but yeah, it's a really fun movie, and I love how different it is, and it didn't even try to be the same as the last one because it would have just failed so hard. Like, doing a sequel to Alien is like an insurmountable task. And it's also weird because this movie came out so much like after Alien came out.
Like almost
Alien
a
came out in
decade.
79, and this movie
Yeah.
came out in 86.
Part of the thing was that Sigourney Weaver was like very anti sequel to Alien, and she really didn't want to reprise her role or like do anything because she just didn't think anything could live up to Alien. But then James Cameron was brought on, and he like started writing it, and then he like had to leave in the middle of writing it to go film The Terminator. But the president of the studio at the time was just like, but James Cameron is the right guy for the job, so we'll just put the project on hold until he comes back. And then he sort of sneakily, like, not blackmailed Sigourney Weaver onto it. That's the wrong word. But they were having trouble like getting to her.
Yeah.
They were having trouble getting her to sign on because she was so anti-sequel. But then they were like,
she was also
we're
super
gonna write
anti-gun. And she was like in gun violence. She didn't like how much of an action movie this was and how much like violence there was in it.
I mean, this is an action movie. This is not a horror movie. This is an action movie.
Sci-fi action. Yeah, but I mean, James Cameron like put out a rumor basically, because he was trying to get the studio to handle it. And he was like, I'm going on my honeymoon, and if she's not signed on by the time I get back, then I'm leaving the project. And then the deadline was coming up and his honeymoon was ending, and he was like, uh-oh, my own deadline that I made up is not working. So he put out a rumor that they were just going to write it without Ripley and like cut it out and make it his own. And then her agent called them up immediately and was like, you can't do an Alien sequel without Ripley. And then she read the script and was like, oh, it's all about Ripley and like her journey and like her emotional stuff going on.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm super on board.
Apparently, James Cameron, when he was writing this, had like a picture of Sigourney Weaver sitting on his desk.
That he just gazed at lovingly.
That he gazed at. And I think that
we do
when
that
I
also.
get a desk in this house, I'm going to put a picture of fucking Ellen Ripley.
In her little tank top.
For sure. In her little tank top. Of course, in her little tank top.
In her tank top and undies.
Yeah, I want tank top. Well, so for
that's her
movie
fucking
one
uniform.
or
She
two,
loves that.
do we have the white one or the gray one?
You can do a triptych with like one and
one side
the
and the
beginning
other.
of two, and then like the end of two.
Oh, does she get into her little tank top in Alien 3? I don't know because I did not watch that one yet.
You can swap it out when that time comes. Yeah,
we'll just keep adding.
I think it's super interesting that you said that because I also read something that said that they didn't want to bring, like, another reason that they didn't do this movie sooner was because whoever was like the in charge of the
They're
production
like rights
company.
holder or whatever.
Yeah. Well, there was like a lawsuit that happened right after the movie.
Oh.
Yeah. Hold on. Pause for effect. Sorry, I didn't search this in advance.
There was literally so much trivia on IMDb trivia. I don't know how anybody could effectively find information about this movie. There's just so much out there.
Yeah, people fucking love this movie.
At first,
Oh,
I was
yeah,
like,
well,
"Oh,
anyway-
this is manageable," and then I clicked expand all, and I was like, "Nope, never mind."
Well, yeah, apparently like there was like some sort of like fight for people getting fairly compensated with how successful the movie was afterwards. So that pushed things
Oh,
back.
classic.
And also the person who was the head of like, I guess it was Fox. Yeah. Oh, I found it right here. Fox executive Alan Ladd Jr., who greenlit Alien, left Fox in the aftermath at some point in the aftermath after Alien came out. And so like basically when there's like, you know, turnover like that, people don't want to do like I don't want to do the same thing that Ladd Jr. did. I'm gonna do my own thing. So they didn't want to like redo like do like the same types of movies that they were doing before because they're different.
God
Everybody just
forbid.
wants to be different, you know. So that was another part of it. But also, this is horrible, and it was reminding me of Nev Campbell in Scream. They were not like originally trying to get Sigourney back because they were worried she was going to cost too much and they didn't want to pay her.
Oh yeah, because she became a big star after filming the first Alien.
So they were like, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't ask for her back because like maybe we should go a different direction because it's going to cost so much." And it just makes me so fucking furious. Like she is Alien. Fuck off.
Yeah,
the
she's
Alien is
literally
also
Alien.
Alien, but she is Alien.
but
Yeah.
she is alien.
She is. She is.
She
Alien.
is. Yeah, it had a really interesting start, and it also had like a really rocky whole time as well.
Oh yeah, because everybody at the production company like hated James Cameron, and
Yeah,
then
'cause he's
James
a
Cameron
dick.
hated them.
He's a genius, whatever. He's very good at everything that he does, and I like a lot of his movies. Not all of them. But I like this one. Uh they filmed the movie in England, and so
Mhm.
they had like a different culture there and different rules. And so they're not like every time you hear anything about Europe, like it's chiller over there.
Everybody's
and
hanging
the
out.
UK. Everybody's chilling. So it's not as cutthroat as it is over in the States. And so James Cameron was going fucking crazy. And he kept breaking all these union rules and like doing shit himself.
Ooh.
So like when painters were painting and they weren't painting it the way he wanted to, he would just be like, "Fuck you," and paint it himself. And so that was like breaking a bunch of rules. And I couldn't find the full story on this. And if I get this full story from our dear listener, Leo, because he was going to tell me all about it today, but then he had to go to work. And so we didn't connect. But like there was like a whole, I know he like knows everything about the alien universe. So shouts to Leo. Anyway, there was a whole mutiny. And so they like James Cameron fired like one of the main guys, and there was like a whole fucking mutiny, and somehow Sigourney Weaver like calmed the mutiny down, but I couldn't find the details on it, and I'm really mad. But the ever creator of peace, Sigourney Weaver, somehow brought them back together. But one of my favorite things about it that I read was like James Cameron was going fucking nuts because there was tea time every day, and a lady would come around with a tea cart, and everybody would have their tea break, and they would lose like an hour a day to the tea break. And so he like was going fucking nuts. He's like, "That's 5 hours a week. That's almost a whole day of filming." And so tea was a big point of contention on the set. I thought it was so funny.
That's like the
Yeah.
most British thing I've ever heard.
No, the poor tea lady was getting it from James Cameron.
Yeah, maybe it's just because the Netflix marketing worked on me, and so now I'm watching Suits, but it reminds me a lot of the Meghan Markle royal family drama of like the American work culture of working all the time, long hours at any hour of the day versus the European work culture of like, actually I'm gonna go to the pub and I'm doing tea time and I'm allowed to do that. It's just like making fucking enemies out of each other.
Yeah. Apparently the same thing happened on the set of Star Wars with George Lucas, but George Lucas, like in the article I read, said like swallowed it or something weird. It phrased it really weird. He held his rage inside of his body instead of taking it out on the cast and crew. And so That's probably maybe a better way to do it. Like, go scream and hit a pillow. Don't scream at the nice people making your very complicated movie.
Yeah.
But
Sounds like there's a lot of animosity in general also
big
because
beefing.
a lot of the production crew, maybe this is from IMDb trivia, so this isn't particularly researched, but it said like they had a lot of loyalty to Ridley Scott after he did the first film too, so they were also just like very wary of any new director coming in. One thing said that they were also being misogynistic to what's her name, Gail Ann Hurd. Openly hostile was the quote, actually. And they were like mocking her because she was married to Cameron, so they were like, you're only here because you're his wife or whatever. But I don't know if that is like true. So, but just like everybody was sniping at everybody and doing bad behavior, it sounds
that
like.
trivia was like pro Cameron, and
Yeah,
my thing that I
James
read was
Cameron was on
anti
there,
Cameron.
maybe.
Yeah, interesting, very interesting.
But Peter Lamont, who was the like production designer, he got along with Cameron and they worked together, and then James Cameron like brought him back later when he did True Lies and Titanic. So there was some good workplace relationships that were formed, and I guess there were some workplace feuds that also
Enemies.
sparked to life.
Everybody's got to have a workplace enemy.
It's so
believe
important
that.
to have a workplace nemesis sometimes.
It is.
Yeah,
You have to have it. You have to.
I've had a nemesis at every one of my jobs.
I work from
Am I
home,
the
so I
problem?
currently don't have one, which is
You're
very.
your
Although I'm my own
nemesis,
worst
but also
enemy.
your own work wife. Gorgeous. You're
I'm
like,
just
hey girl,
really
you need a little
self-sufficient.
snack? Here's a French fry.
But my other enemy from Los Angeles, everybody knows, and I will.
Everybody knows.
They're literally number 2 on my enemies list in my phone. So
It's important. It's important to have an enemies list.
To have
I
a
would
written
say.
out enemy. I had a written out friends list for a long time, and people made fun of me for that, which I thought was rude. But it's like, I'm gonna forget about somebody if I don't have it written down and organized by region. I need to know where everybody is. If not everyone's gonna give me their location, Monica, then I just need to have some notes.
Stop coming for me.
MySpace took away top 8. Therefore,
The
I have
ability
it
to
in my
rank.
phone. And
You have
I
to just get
do it
married and
in
have
my phone.
bridesmaids these days? That's crazy.
I was sorry, not totally paying attention to what you're just saying. I just heard you insult me and then move on. Or drag me, not insult me. I'm not insulted. Because I came up with another name for our 2 weeks. It's Billsy 2 week, and it's also Stan Winston 2 weeks because he made that big old crock in Lake Placid.
Weeks.
Stan Winston.
Sounds like mincemeat.
Horrible.
Say.
And he also did all the like effects and special effects for this movie, which was fucking incredible. So they did have some.
It won an Oscar.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, did you see the goddamn fucking queen, alien queen? Jesus Christ, I love there's this queen alien. She had that big gooky tail. Anyway, we'll
Her
get to
egg
this.
sack.
Her egg penis coming out. It looked phallic to me. I'm so sorry. It was so disgusting.
Well,
It also looked like an elephant trunk, which was nice part of it.
OG elephant, or the OG elephant, the OG alien wasn't it supposed to be like incredibly phallic?
With the probing penis.
Yeah.
And when they showed it in this movie, when it came like up against the glass in the specimen tank, it was very like a penis coming out of a vagina.
It also was like the penis coming out of the foreskin.
It's like an allegory for something. What? We'll never know.
No one knows.
No one knows.
No one knows. Also, I just on the whole, before we get back to Stan Winston, I feel like they didn't use the little mouth as well this time. There were way fewer little mouth usages, I would say. They showed
there
the
was
gooey
some good,
teeth, but like
There was
not
some
as much
up
stabby.
close
when
shots.
Ripley was in the mech suit and she was grappling with it, and the inner mouth was like coming at her head, and she was like ducking and weaving.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was a good use.
The one that got me was when it was in that little like spaceship thing that were coming to rescue them after they all got in like an alien ambush.
And she like turns around.
And it was like
Yeah, and then she exploded. Yeah, that was
I
great.
flinched.
That
I
was a really
flinched.
good
As soon as you
one.
saw the goo on like the landing gear as they pulled it up, it was like, oh girl, it's
Oh,
over.
no.
Yeah, it's not good.
You're not coming back from this.
No. But I think that what was it? Oh, with Stan Winston, apparently when they're making the queen baby, they, didn't want to use all their fancy equipment to make it at first because that costs a lot of money, and what if it doesn't work? So they made a trash queen instead.
Yes.
They made the queen out of trash bags. So they like had the inside part, but they put trash bags all over to make it look maybe like an alien a little bit, because they look a little bit like a trash bag if
Black
you're
and
drunk and
kind
your
of
eyes
shiny.
are closed.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I just love the trash queen. She's my trash queen. I'm only gonna call her that for the rest of the time. I'll probably
She's a
forget.
trash
but
queen.
Trash queen.
I'll
Trash
remind you if I
queen,
remember.
yeah.
But yeah, IMDb trivia for this movie is so unbelievably long. I couldn't get through all of it, but there was a lot of really good stuff in there that I did see about like the making of everything. And there were for Miss Trash Queen herself, it took like 14 to 16 operators to get her like moving around and stuff like that once she was fully finished. It was an absolute beast on this movie.
Totally. And it was worth it because it was paid off so well. But apparently also Sigourney Weaver like tried to stay like away from the trash queen when she had all of her like trash people beneath her like not ready for the scene, because like it made it look less fake, and so she was trying to like make herself believe the trash queen and so not see it when it's in its compromised form and not looking like a believable big queen of trash. And I thought that was fun, and it's a smart thing to do.
I feel like that's how people look at me sometimes as well. They're like, I must
a
stay
giant
away.
trash queen, and so they need to keep their distance.
Exactly.
You as a trash queen?
Yeah. They're like, she's so mysterious and full of trash. I must keep my distance.
She's so mysterious, like shiny plastic.
Like,
do you ever feel like a plastic bag?
Oh my god.
That's about the trash queen. Did you know that?
Like a big trash bag. You have to say trash bag.
Trash bag.
Not plastic bag.
Those were the original lyrics, and then Katy Perry was like,
they're gonna know it's about
actually,
the
I let me
aliens.
disguise this. But then she wrote other songs about aliens, so you can kind of put the pieces together if you think about it.
Yeah, it's all there in context.
It's very funny because today I wore my purse that looks like a little trash bag from Fashion Brand Company. They're not paying me, but it's a cool bag. Anyway, I'm the trash queen now. No, she's the trash queen. I could never. But okay, let's go from the beginning here, because I thought the beginning of this movie slapped hard. I love movies that start literally. Well, it's not actually literally exactly where it ended, but for Ripley, it is exactly where the last movie ended. So at the end of Alien, she shoots the fucking alien that's on her little escape pod with her out into fucking space, and then goes into cryo sleep with her cat. What's the cat?
Well, don't forget Jonesy.
Jones.
It's trying to like come in through the jet or whatever, and she has to fucking fire blast it as well. Because I had to Google how does Alien end when I started watching this movie.
But essentially, what I'm getting at, she's alone and she's asleep in the escape pod, and that's it. And so it opens with them finding her escape pod, and you're thinking like, oh, they found her escape pod, great.
No.
Not that great. Not that great.
Complicated.
It has been 57 years. And I just want to say that I thought, I was like, it's been 37 years. Just wait. It's going to be 37 years. And I was wrong, but I got the 7 right. And I feel proud about that. And I haven't seen this movie in like 6 years. So anyway.
Did you have a reason for the number 37?
Memory. Huh?
Did you have a reason for 37?
I just I was like sure that I was right and remembered it right. I was like, I bet you I remember this right. Sometimes I remember numbers really weirdly. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's about Ripley, not about me and my weird brain.
But yeah, I mean, I was intending to just sit down and give this movie my full attention. And then they said it had been 57 years, and my jaw dropped so hard that I was like, actually, I have to write down a note about this. And then I have to write down all of my little thoughts about this movie as I'm watching this movie. Because it just like shook me to my core the second that they said that. But then she had the like chest burster coming out of her, and then they were like, it's just a dream. And so I was like, okay, so has it been 57 years or not. And I thought that was a little confusing until they were like, there's been a colony on that planet for 20 years. And then I was like, oh, okay, so it has been 57 years. But definitely, you sent the, Monica, you sent the deleted scenes to our group chat earlier, and you were like, I want to talk about these later.
Oh, yeah.
So I
Did
watched
you watch them?
Yeah, and they do,
Yeah.
like, that would have added a lot of context, I think, too, to, like, place the world more that we're in. Because the first movie
Totally.
is so contained on that one ship, and you're getting so much more of, like, what things are like now in the second movie.
Yeah, exactly. Like I watched the theatrical cut on Hulu. And then I watched these deleted scenes separately. But the director's cut I feel like would have been a much more moving thing to watch because like in this beginning part, you know, we've got Ripley. She's waking up. She's fucking horrified that she's been asleep for 57 years, which anyone would be that horrified. Like you think about it, it's like everyone you know is super old now,
probably
older
dead.
than you. They're probably might be dead depending on their age. Yeah, they're probably dead. And it's terrifying, but it just goes like immediately into this like horrible trial where she like
Her
is
deposition.
her deposition, and they don't believe her and all that shit. But something that was in the director's cut, which slaps hard, and they didn't put in this movie, and makes the whole rest of the movie make so much more sense, is that and they don't mention this in Alien. I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't think so.
They sit Ripley down. The fucking guy. What's the guy's name?
Burke.
The guy who's a horrible asshole.
Little
Burke.
bitch ass
Burke from the
bitch ass
company.
bitch.
Burke from the company. Fuck the company.
Yeah.
Fuck the company. Fuck Burke. Anyway, he sits Ripley down while she's sitting in a fake space park. Very beautiful. And she says,
very Jason X with that one scene where
Yes.
they put him in the simulation of being at camp.
exactly. It's the exact same thing.
Exactly.
That's where Jason X got it from, for sure.
And
but
the other
it's
way
like
around.
simulated nature, so she's being pensive, whatever. It's before she gets her hair cut. And Burke, she's like, Burke, I need to know about my daughter. And
we're like, excuse
so
me?
it's revealed that she has a daughter, and then Burke is like, well, your daughter is 60, I don't remember the number for this one, 60 something years old, ... when she died, which was 2 years ago. So she just missed her. And she apparently had like left her. You find out in another deleted scene, she had just left like and promised that she'd be back to see her daughter in time for her 11th birthday. So like that's how old she
Devastating.
was when she left. And so, yeah, it's like a retcon kind of thing, like adding in this character development for Ripley, but like there wasn't any like character development, like facts in the first movie. Like everyone gets like either really good at fighting for their lives or they die in the last one. So that part of their character develops, but like there's no backstory. So I liked that retcon, and I liked how it adds more gravitas to her relationship with Newt later on in the movie. But yeah, they cut that out. I thought that was weird. But the director's cut does exist. How long is it though? Is it 4 hours long? It might be.
Well, it's only there's only like 17 minutes of deleted scenes. So it's not that
like
much
2
longer,
hours and
but
40 minutes probably.
yeah, it would have been like a
Almost
full
3 hours.
2.5 plus hours.
Almost
And I guess
Oppenheimer.
which is so funny because I just saw that the other day, and that there's also so much deposition in that movie. So I was like, interesting. And there was something else that was a clear reference, but I don't remember now. But yeah, I mean, I watched this movie. I knew that it was about Ripley and a little girl for the most part. And I knew that they made it to spoilers. I knew that they made it to the end. I thought they were the only ones that made it to the end. So there were still some surprises for me in this movie. But I like watched the movie. I loved it. I was a little like, okay, they bonded super fast, but that makes sense to me. That's fine. And then I went on IMDb trivia, and it was like something. The picture of Ripley's daughter is actually Sigourney Weaver's real life mom. And I was like, Ripley's daughter? What? So I immediately had to go check out those deleted scenes, and I was like,
They rock.
this is like so much more context for what's going on. And with Newt too, because there's a deleted scene of like her with her family, and how they're the original ones who are like finding the eggs
Yeah.
and the xenomorphs, and her dad is getting face suckered and like all
her
this
dad's
stuff.
the first person from the colony to get his face sucked on, and that's because they're like scavengers and they like hear that there's like some ship out there, which is the fucking
And that if you
alien
find
ship.
it, you can keep it.
Yeah. So that is important context. And then you meet the mom, you meet the dad, you meet the brother that she
Timmy.
references later on that are all fucking dead. She says so
Rip.
epically. And also there's
Yikes.
more context with the company too. Like you watch them like do this whole hearing with her where after they have the hearing where they just don't believe anything she says.
Mhm.
And they won't even
Classic.
check. They won't even do anything. They're like, we're not even going to check to see. But I mean, that's the same thing. That continues on from the first movie, right? Because the whole point of the first movie is like they knew that there's something bad, that there's something fucked up there, and they just sent them there to check it out. And then like they made the synthetic like choose that
Bring
alien,
back alien
bring
life
back
at the
the
expense of
alien.
everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah. So like we know not to trust the company. They only care about their bottom dollar. Like in that, oh, that was so annoying. They're like, you blew up that fucking $42 million ship or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Like, what it like, why would you do that? And
Guess
she's like,
what?
did you
If
hear about the alien?
took over, you were not gonna get the ship back either.
I don't
And I would
understand.
do it again.
Let me tell you about how it burst out of the chest. It went on the face. It had a little second mouth, and its blood is acid. Like, do you need any more information? But yeah, and and the other deleted scene was just like they do another hearing, and they're like, yeah, so you can't be a pilot anymore because you're unfit, and then that's how she gets
demoted,
shafted.
bitch. Yeah, that was very Oppenheimer. Maybe that's what I was thinking about too.
Oh yeah. So it makes the beginning much more meaningful and more frustrating. So I don't know. One day I'll watch the director's cut and see it all in its context instead of piecemeal. But the deleted
would be
scenes are
great.
in the references. So
Because there's also that scene where Ripley and Hicks like exchange names, and I think that comes way later after they like escaped and Bishop has gotten that whatever spacecraft back for them to fly away on after she's gone back in after Newt. And I think like that's the moment where it comes, where it's like, let's connect as people just in case we never see each other again. I don't know exactly. It's hard to place the emotion there without knowing where it goes in the movie. But I think the director's cut would really, I mean, obviously this movie slaps as it is. I think the director's cut would add a lot of emotional weight to the film.
totally. I like a lot of the time, love you directors. Well, okay. Medium right now, being annoying. The Directors Guild.
Why didn't you strike with everybody else?
Yeah.
Where's the solidarity? Yeah.
Absolutely. But anyway,
But it's fine.
It's not, but
the directors,
we move on.
Yeah,
they have
the
different complaints.
a lot of the time director's cuts feel a little circle jerky, you know. They're like,
Mhm.
my vision, she would have said 5 more words and it was very
Yeah.
important. And
Oh,
it's
your
just like
director's cut added 1 minute of runtime. I'm sure that 1 minute is
Yeah.
gonna make so much
In
difference.
my director cuts, this movie still wouldn't pass the Bechdel test.
in my director's cut, there's 42 more nipples, and that's the only change. But yeah, I mean, like there is this emotional component. That's the word. That's how you say it. But the best part about this movie and the bulk of it is the ragtag group of motherfuckers.
Marines. The
Yes.
Marines. Here's the thing.
Marines.
In the first movie, and I didn't put this together until at some point I went, oh yeah, she works for that other company, that's why she's here as a consultant. This is an American military mission. I kind of had gotten the impression in the first movie though that maybe we were in like a post-America world, that it was like so far in the future that things were super different, but I guess not.
Maybe they just call them Marines, you know?
No, they have like American flag patches that I noticed, and I was like, oh, this is like just full American military, which is fine, but I got confused. I was like, I didn't think we were doing that.
The message is, even if America isn't here, our military will still be around to ruin things.
Wow.
Well, they were trying to save the day at least a little bit in this movie. You know, it was the corporations that were trying to ruin things.
Well,
But
they
of
were-
course, they're military contractors, so hand in hand, it's complicated.
I have an
What
important
did you just realize though?
announcement to
Yeah, I
make.
saw your face go.
I was looking at the cast on IMDb so I could try to remember people's names, but like they're not going to stick. There's too many names. But there's a person who doesn't have a picture on IMDb, so I don't know who it is. But there's Private Crow, one of the characters, and the actor who plays Private Crow, their name, Tipping.
Incredible.
What a name!
Wow.
Tipping.
Tipping. Anyway, just very inspiring. Also, like this is different, but we do get a Private Spunkmeyer on this.
I love that.
Yeah, there were so many Marines in the beginning that there was truly no hope of trying to keep anybody
They
separate and
90% of them die
identify
immediately.
everyone.
So
Yeah, but I was like, Vasquez, I know, because she's a butch and she called Ripley Snow White and also was like Que Bonita. And also she had what I can only assume was a homosexual relationship with Drake, even though it's a man and a woman. It just felt very gay to me what they had going on.
yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
She was devastated when he died, but is Drake the one who she
The
accidentally
blondie.
exploded acid
They were
blood on him?
besties.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think
it was erotic
fucks him,
though.
but like
They
she
fuck.
fucks him. You know what I mean?
I
She's
see
wearing the strap.
distinction, yeah.
That's what I feel for them. But apparently, per IMDb trivia, like in the shooting script, they do have like background as characters where they were like raised in the same neighborhood and like went to juvie together or something like that. So their characters do have they had a tough childhood together in a Hispanic slum and were drafted into the Colonial Marines from juvenile prison.
Oh my god.
So that's interesting that they're developing all these backstories that they just don't share with us.
Well, yeah. So another person who did that was Bill Paxton. He made up a whole story for Private Hudson. Because Hudson is all talk, no fucking game throughout this entire movie. There's a deleted scene where, like, I can't remember the phrase that he uses. Do you remember, Chelsea? He's like, "This is the shit. This is the shit. And this is the shit." It's something like that. He's just describing things in the plane, and he's like, "And that's the shit." But it's not the shit. And he just says it like 50 times. And I was like, God, I'm glad they deleted that one. And I'm sorry I'm telling you about it now. But Bill Paxton came up with this whole backstory for Hudson where he was like, yeah, like he learned everything from like simulation video games. And so that's why he's so scared when he's doing the real thing. So he thinks he knows exactly what he's doing, but he's been Ender's gaming it this entire time.
And
he's
that's
like,
why
actually,
he says,
I know
"Game
nothing."
over." He says game over at a pivotal point in the movie, which apparently was an ad lib. Apparently he was ad libbing a lot in this film. But a lot of it made it in, so that's fun.
He's so good, yeah. And it's just, I don't know. I love this cast of characters. I love Lance Henriksen so much, who plays Bishop.
He's really good. Yeah, he's incredible.
So good in this. I loved him and Ripley's like interaction where she like really didn't fucking trust him because he's another synthetic, which is robotist of her. I don't know what you would say. Not racist. It's not a race of people, but you know, I'm glad that they could come together in the end.
Good
Robotist.
representation for synthetics in this movie too.
Exactly. I loved that. I love that.
Not
Listen,
all
with
synthetics are bad.
milky.
With AI on the rise, this movie was alarming.
Yeah,
My
no,
goodness.
that part I was like, I love Bishop, but I don't love the other aliens. And everyone should watch iRobot, especially now more than ever. One day I will make us do it on the pod somehow.
Robot
We will
month.
figure out
We've
how.
talked about doing our AI
Smith
round
month.
table or whatever. Will Smith month. That's funny. Yeah, I'm sure we'll find a way to get a bunch of these movies in
We can
conversation
do
with each
I
other.
Am Legend, iRobot. I ran out of ideas.
I'm
That's
sure
it.
there are more. Is he in Seven or is he in something else that has a title that I always confuse with Seven?
Oh, 7 pounds. And that is not a
Oh.
horror movie, but it did make me cry
Hmm.
so hard on a plane that I almost threw up. And I wasn't even watching the movie. It was back when you had to watch the movie. It was always playing. So I just looked up, saw the saddest part of that movie, and started crying so hard that I was gagging. I scared
my
everyone
God.
around me. Anyway, don't watch that movie. It's so sad. I don't know why he was doing the things he was doing. But anyway, Bishop, that scene with him with Hudson at the beginning with the fucking knife, it's like the most like iconic, like I don't know, it's the second most iconic scene from this movie, I would say. That's like clipped all the time, but he takes the hands and does the little knife thing. I love that part so much. Just watching Bill Paxton's face journey is just so wonderful. We love a face
Apparently,
journey.
he really did clip Bill Paxton's pinky on the second take that they
Oh,
did because they had to do a
ooh.
reshoot for some reason.
Oh, bad.
But just
bad,
the pinky,
bad.
though, that's like your least valuable finger, so it's okay.
That's where
Yeah.
you wear pinky rings, and those are very important.
That's how you signal you're gay. Yeah.
Exactly. How will people
I-
know if you don't have a pinky ring?
No, I have a pinky ring, but it's a little bit too big. Ugh,
You just have
so
to wear
bad.
a shirt that says I'm gay if you're not wearing your pinky ring.
I have
Yeah.
one that says I'm bi, really, really small, like a little surprise.
Like a
I'll
little
wear it more
secret.
often.
Yeah.
It's like I'm bi.
A little Easter egg.
But I think the reveal of how fucked everything is on this planet is so awesome. Like the beginning when they're walking around and they're like, "Oh fuck, no one's here." That's weird, and all the shit's all fucked up. That's weird. That's all well and good. But when they like find that other building that has all the little bleep bloop dots showing that,
Everybody's in the same space. That's not suspicious at all. Yeah.
and they're all like glooped together in this nasty person hive thing. Ah,
And
so
they're not even all
cool.
dead. I was like, when they said everybody was there, I was like, oh, it's a graveyard. That's like where everybody's bones are or whatever.
Wrong.
It was worse than that. It was worse than that because that
Her
lady
top
was
was
very
still
much
alive.
alive. Yeah.
And then she had her chest bursted, and then she was lit on fire. Hopefully, she
think she
died
was
right
dead
when
by
the
then,
chest. I
yeah.
hope. I hope
She
so.
seemed pretty dead from her whole chest being exploded. So
That will do it. That will do it. But
yeah.
I mean, I'm a fucking sucker for well, okay, two things. I'm a sucker for found footage, and I love that there are some like found footage elements of this movie because
Oh,
they
with
had the
their,
first
like, body
person
cams?
cameras, the body
Yeah.
cameras. I thought that was fun. I was like, oh, is that inspirational for people years later? Anyway, also maybe it could have just been they had cameras and it's that, but I was excited. And I'm also such a sucker for a scene like this where like all of a sudden the lifeline after lifeline goes out, you know? I
Mhm.
love that. It's so scary, and you're seeing it from like Lieutenant Gorman's perspective, who is a fucking numbnuts, by the way, absolute idiot fucker. He is nice, but he is not good at his job.
He has done 38 simulations, but this is only his second actual mission. So
Damn, poor guy. Yeah, so he sucked, but that scene was just really, really awesome. Just watching it, everyone just get fucking decimated, and I feel like they really used the acid blood a lot more this movie. I mean, I just don't
Yeah.
remember how much it was used in Alien because it's been a minute, but God, everyone was getting fucked up left and right. It's like, yeah, you killed them, but now you're burning to death.
Yeah. They did some fun effects with that when they were building the aliens. Obviously in Alien there's really only just the one, and they had that 7-foot tall actor portraying the alien, and then in this one, because there were so many, they were like, we're not gonna find all these different people who are gonna be able to pull that off. So they mostly just had regular tall stunt performers, and they didn't really shoot them in the same shot as the actors so that they could just like use forced perspective and stuff like that. But they had them in these like suits where they were also filled with chemicals so that when they were like being riddled with bullets, it would mix the chemicals that would cause like smoke to come out and look like it was like the acid burning through their
Oh,
suits after they were like the aliens were shot with bullets. So they were doing a lot of really cool stuff with that. They were just like, they were making the most of their budget on this movie too, because in the beginning when they're in their sleep pods, apparently they could only afford to build 4, but they make it look like there's 12 because they're just using like mirrors and lighting and like all that kind of stuff to just
That's
Hollywood
smart.
magic it.
That is smart.
But they
I
cost
think-
like $4,300 to build each one, so they were like,
oh my God.
oopsie, we ran out of budget. Here's 4.
No, just use a mirror. That's smart.
Come here.
I love that you brought up that smoke thing. I did not know that, but I just think it's really hilarious. after Lake Placid with the very important steam moment. Great uses of steam and smoke
a
in both
clear
of these
reference.
films. Yeah, steamy 2 weeks. There's just so many through
We
lines.
love a good 2 weeks.
But also,
Nobody loves the 2 weeks more than we do.
That's so true.
so true. When you can't commit to a month, you do 2 weeks.
just do
But
2 weeks.
anyway, you were saying about like the stuntmen and people that they had being the aliens. And I read this article and like it doesn't say anything more than this, but it says dancers and stuntmen wore lightweight suits that allowed them to fly around quickly. And I was like, they were dancers. I was like,
They
I
were
love that they
dancers.
specifically had
And they were
dancers.
dancers.
Are we human or are we dancers?
Yeah,
We're dancers.
They're not human. They're aliens and they're dancers. It's an and situation at this point.
Wow.
I know. But there's also like they use these like 12 they used 12 like 8-foot tall mannequins were used when they needed the alien to do shit that a human couldn't do in the suit. And there's this quote from the effects supervisor John Richardson, and he said, if we want to do something that looked really violent, we would hang up a dummy alien, sort of puppet control, and we would literally blow the hell out of it. They were the good ones because you could really go to town on those and you could blow arms and legs and heads off.
Damn.
And I was like, go ahead, John. He loved it. He had a great time. I would love to work in the props department or special effects. If you need more practical effects, give me a job once the strikes are over.
Hello, Stan Winston.
Hello. But yeah, I felt bad for all those people who were like, yeah, I killed him. And then they
Just instantly
melted.
got, yeah. So many people, there were so many Marines, and then like a good half of them at least got wiped out in that scene. And
Oh,
it was
yeah.
kind of like, okay, good, because I couldn't keep track of everybody. And so now I have a more contained crew. And at first I was like, oh, good, both Vasquez and her boyfriend made it back. And then immediately he got acid on him. And I was like, oops, spoke too soon. So, you know, but Vasquez was really her, and what's Bill Paxton's name? Hudson. Yeah, him and like Hicks, and those were really the only people whose names I knew other than Bishop. So I was like, okay, great. And Burke.
Well, I want to just give a shout out to a man gone too soon, and that's Sergeant Apone.
Apone. Yes, I liked him.
He was so awesome. His little fucking pod opened up. He wakes up. He grabs a cigar.
Cigar immediately. Yeah, loved it. Incredible.
It really hit for me because just the other day, I was getting ready for a bike ride at 6 a.m. and I looked out the window and there was a man with this top down of his convertible and he was smoking a cigar at 6 a.m. in like a very fancy, like Miami Vice kind of suit looking thing. Similar energy. Love it. Good for
That's a
you.
choice.
Bad for your lungs.
I think the actor who played him was an actual Marine.
Oh, really? Al Matthews?
He was some kind of veteran. Yeah.
He was a veteran, and so he like got the crew together, and they were like, "No, this is how we're gonna
he was in
do
Vietnam.
it." Yeah, and then also this movie is like a Vietnam allegory, metaphor, whatever that is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
I don't know enough about Vietnam
talk
to appreciate that.
They talk about how the Marines in this movie, you know, they're military, they're trained, they have all of these weapons, and they're fighting an enemy who is local and who is just coming at you like guerrilla warfare style. And so it's really Vietnam.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and they also seem like, I don't know, ill prepared. Like some people were like thrown into
overconfident.
Yeah.
They also did a fun thing that real soldiers did where they were like decorating their ship. And so Bill Paxton's character has Louise written on his armor, which is a dedication to his real life wife, Louise Newberry. I don't know if they were still together when he died, but at least at the time, his wife. And Cynthia Dale Scott, who played Dietrich, had Blue Angel on her helmet, which was a reference to Marlene Dietrich in The Blue Angel. And you just like noticed other things on there. Like they definitely were personalizing their stuff. And what's interesting also about the Marines is that like most movies are not filmed in order, obviously, because it's just not always practical, but they specifically filmed the intro for the Marines as one of the last scenes, so that all of the actors would have like already been working together for months by that point. So when you see like the camaraderie between them, they'd already been able to like build that throughout filming so that they could like bring it into that moment instead of just like not necessarily being as comfortable playing off each other yet.
That's cool. I really like that.
But yeah, they all get a bunch of them yeeted out in that moment. They just, they're out of the script. And then we get like a moment of peace where you think, okay, we've got time to regroup a little bit. Ripley has found this little girl in the air duct and has carried her off to safety. She's going to take a little nap in the med bay and everything's going to be just fine. But when Ripley goes to join the nap, things are not fine when she wakes up.
No, they're not fine. Oh my god. But once again, Burke soul as fuck.
Fucking Burke. I immediately was like, I know this is Burke has something to do with this. Burke's doing something.
Burke.
She wakes up and notices that there are two of the face huggers that were still alive in these little test tubes. They're big test tubes. And they're empty and on the ground. And her gun's gone. That whole scene was so nerve-wracking because I like something about a little critter scuttling around and you can't see it. And the little scuttling sounds are so scary, and they really up the volume on all of its little like. I don't know if you could hear that, but sometimes those sounds don't pick up on my mic. But oh my god, all of the sounds, like once it actually gets like close to her face too, like, so
the
disgusting.
Aliens reminded me of bugs in this movie, where they didn't remind me of bugs in the first one.
Well, they also call them bugs in the beginning too, where they're like, "Are we bug hunting this mission?"
Yeah, like they weren't as scary to me.
I think you just didn't see the
scary.
face sucker as much for as long when it was like moving around in the first movie. Like mainly it was on his face and then it crawled off to die. And then it was like there were so many of them this movie that it was more of a plot point of that like stage of their xenomorph development.
Adam was telling me, because we were watching this last night and he was doing a little research, and in the context like of the film, they don't ever say this, but like when they said, "Oh, are we going bug hunting?" Like there's obviously already extraterrestrial life because they're used to that sort of a thing. There's
and
apparently
they're fucking
some sort
the
of
Arcturians or whatever.
Yeah, there's the Arcturians, which are the gorilla
Arcturian
type
poontang
people that they fuck. But
doesn't matter if it's a girl or a boy if they're Arcturian.
They were used to aliens that weren't as smart as them, because they weren't like the races they had come across so far weren't as advanced as the aliens ones, as the xenomorphs. That's what they're called, right? Yeah. As xenomorphs are, because even though like they have like the hive mentality, it's very much like a bee and the queen bee and blah 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 blah. So that seems like if you're relating them to bees, like, oh, they're not as advanced as humans, but they can fucking plan and attack and
they
move like an army.
They figured out how to work an elevator, so
bees, xenomorphs.
Okay, wait, you said the stingers thing and I got confused, because apparently, and I might have gotten confused while reading this, but apparently when James Cameron was first working on this, he had like a whole other like way he was going to do this movie, and they changed it. And I read only part of this and I was like, thank God he changed it. It seems like too much. But he was going to have the xenomorphs have stingers on their tails. And they don't have that, right?
No, I think they do. Somebody definitely got stabbed with the like scorpion tail in the first Alien, I think. And in this movie also. Yeah.
They get impaled, but it was supposed to be like
a paralytic agent kind of thing.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like a sting. I don't know.
Interesting.
Because when a scorpion gets you, it doesn't impale you, it just stings you. So it said specifically like a stinger. Anyway, I was like, let's not give them any more things. They already
They've
have
got
a lot
so
of things.
yeah, they've already
They
got a little mouth in their mouth.
They got egg. Egg turns into face hugger, creepy crawly. Then they gestate in your chest and punch out, and then they have 3 or 4 heads. I don't know. It felt like they had another layer this time
They're
too,
just tiny little alien nesting dolls.
and they're very gooey. That's very true. It's very true.
But yeah, I just think the med bay scene is so fucked up, especially because we talked about it when we did Alien, but so much of the whole face hugger thing and it being so like genitally is sort of, they really talked about how that like forced impregnation is very metaphorical for sexual assault and rape and all that stuff. And so like obviously Burke is a villain regardless, but the fact that he was trying to purposely get Ripley and a 2nd grade girl impregnated with these aliens so that he could like smuggle the aliens back onto the ship. Like it's just
horrifying.
So
It's
fucked.
so
And
sick.
thankfully he gets got so fast after that, because I literally was in my notes and I was like, well, he's obviously gonna get good. And then it was like that moment that something was right behind him, and I was like, good, fuck you. And like it was gonna be worse for him originally, because in that like
he should have been worse. He should have been ripped limb from limb.
Yeah.
You watch
Well,
every part of it.
in the final face off, after Newt gets lost in the sewers and then gotten by one of the xenomorphs and is in the nest and Ripley has to go get her, she was gonna find like a cocooned Burke still alive, like asking for help, but about to be like the chest hugger bursts out of him. And apparently she gives him like a live grenade and basically is like, that's all I've got for you, best of luck, hope you explode before the chest hugger comes out of you. And you actually, that explosion is still in the final cut of the movie, and they kind of just like write it off. And honestly, I thought that, I was like, is she putting down flares or is she putting down dynamite? And then there was that explosion, and I was like, oh, I guess it was dynamite. But it's some sort of like nuclear reactor or whatever that they like sort of hint about in the beginning.
Sure. Just to mark her spot so she knew how to get back fast. But yeah,
it was gonna be worse for Burke, and they were really gonna be like, fuck this guy. He's gonna explode, and also he got gone. He's in the cocoon and he's alive and blah blah blah. But then they were just like not sure about the timeline and like extra running time, and it didn't even make like the deleted scenes for the director's version. There's just like one picture that was in a magazine to prove like it ever happened.
Dumb. They should have done that. Because like also just going back to the face hugger for a second, I forgot about the whole thing where it wraps around your throat.
Yeah,
and chokes you out as it's doing
scene.
that. No, yeah, and there's something, especially with the sexual component of it. I don't know. It's just super icky. That scene was really hard to watch, but really well done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they do a really good job of making you care about Newt, little sweet
She's so
Newt
cute.
baby. She's so cute.
She's
so
been
sorry.
surviving on her own.
She is so bad at acting. It is almost unbearable.
Did you hear her have like a little Britishy accent at points? It almost felt like
she had an accent.
Like I was like, is this actress British? I couldn't really tell.
If you listen to our last week's episode, Carrie from Out and Lanai mentioned how there's this like line that Brendan Gleeson reads where he's like, he says like sarcastic when he's supposed to like be saying the line sarcastic. There's this one line where like you can hear her in her head saying ... and then saying the word again. It's like so like from the page, and I was like, go for it, baby. Get it, baby. You're giving it all. You're right
crushing
now.
it.
There she
Yeah,
goes.
I looked at her IMDb. Her name is like Carrie.
Yeah,
something.
it's Carrie Hahn.
Carrie Hen.
Yeah, Hen.
She's been in this movie, and then one other movie in the year 2020, which is not a named character. So I think she was not necessarily going out of her way to be an actress. It didn't seem like after, maybe she didn't like being an actress after she did this. But she did like the windmill scene where she like falls down and then she goes down the trash chute or whatever it is. Apparently she kept fucking up that take so that she could keep
doing it,
sliding down it. And eventually James Cameron just had to bargain with her and be like, please stop. I promise you can play on this slide as much as you want, just as soon as we get the take. Just as soon as we get the take, you can do it as much as you want. And then she did it great.
That reminds me of that one I think you should leave sketch where he's on the zip line all the time. It's like the only reason that she did this movie is so she could go on the slide. She's not there to work
She
with
heard
Sigourney
there
Weaver.
was a 3-story slide. Yeah. And she was like, I'm in. And then I'm not interested in doing it again if there's no slide.
Yeah. And her and Sigourney Weaver are still homies, which I think is cute.
I
It
love
is
that.
cute.
So once she does fall down her beautiful little slide, that whole scene of her in the water,
So scary.
and the guy alien rising up behind her. Oh my god! And just Ripley's like agony.
And her little thingies in the grate. Yeah.
Yeah, but like Ripley's like agony screaming, you know, that she's like, okay, everything is about to explode with a nuclear blast.
I gotta get my
But
girl.
I'm getting my girl. She's still alive. And just in the nick of time too, because that egg was about to pop. But I guess we should talk about the queen a little bit more, the trash queen, before we get to the very, very end of this movie. Oh, quick shout out though.
Yeah.
Bishop is a homie. I just want to say Bishop's a homie.
He is a
I
homie.
love
He's a total homie.
Him getting ripped in
You're
half.
like, is he a
though.
homie or not?
Oh,
This is we've seen so many half bodies, and I was thinking about it when we got to this point because we had the half torso zombie in Return of the Living Dead. We had the diver who's just half a body in the beginning of Lake Placid last week, and now we have half Bishop in this movie, and everybody's just a gooey little half body this summer.
I want to do a mini thing where we just like rank half body
I'm down.
rank them for hotness
or like
what?
like
How
how they
good
get
they
ripped
are
in
at
half. You know what I
being
mean?
Or
Like,
half.
who's the sexiest half body?
like there's
I think that's what you
layers.
got.
It was like how did was the effect great?
This one's sexiest, but this one's
yeah,
scariest.
like I think we should do a fun little
Okay.
ranking at some point of half bodies.
That could be our poll question.
We're gonna have to start
Which
a
is
collection.
the best
I bet there are
half
more.
body from the last month of Spooky Tuesday?
Right?
Lake
Yeah.
Placid, Bishop, or pink hair zombie. That's a good one.
I mean, it's a real face-off.
It really is. It really is.
It's a real bottom off because they have their bottoms off.
Wow.
Ooh.
They're just top halves.
I just want to give a little poll update. People, Blythe is winning over Leatherface for the name of my first
my
Oh my
born child.
god.
So that's good because they were neck and neck for a long time.
I gotta go vote. I haven't voted yet.
Fucking damn it. God fucking it. Why did I bring this up? And then also,
Everybody, please go vote for Leatherface. Do your civic duty. Really important.
so far for the Sheriff Hank and Hector, how soon did they kiss as soon as those ambulance door closed? We either have people saying the first second or never. And the people who said never, what's wrong with you? Don't you have a little joy in your heart? How dare you?
Oh my god. What haters.
I know.
You
But
guys don't
that's
believe
neck
in
and
things
neck.
being gay. What are you
So
doing
please
here?
go and vote and choose the gayest option that you can, which is first second. But 5 minutes or 10 minutes
I'm gonna
are
say
also
10
good.
minutes because I want 10 minutes of tension.
Yeah, I like that. We love a little tension. I thrive off that.
They're like still just kind of navigating around each other a little in the ambulance, but then there's a tender moment
Yeah.
where, just a
But yeah, back to Bishop for a second. I would never get in a tube for anyone, so he's a bigger person than I am, and not a person, but a lovely synthetic man. But
yeah, and I completely forgot about him until he circled back around, and then I was like, oh my god, he is here and he did it. He remote piloted the plane or whatever they were saying that he needed to do. Great.
yeah,
I'm glad.
there was gonna be some like interaction with him and an alien in the tube, but they didn't do that. And that would have been
Mm.
cool because that would have been terrifying. But also, how do you survive that? Also, they already have a tube sort of thing that happens.
Yeah, they've got the race through the
Air ducts,
vents,
yeah.
which was so cool. And like seeing the creatures like really like hands on the walls, like crawling through there.
Yes,
That was
and
fun.
Vasquez was so badass in that. And then that moment, so
Mhm.
sad when what's his name, Lieutenant Gorman?
Gorman.
Yeah, when like
They both have
he
their
finally
hands on it.
does like something to help his crew, and he's like, "Let's blow ourselves up." Very sad.
They happily explode to save
It
everybody
breaks
else.
each
Also,
other's
not
arms.
be human host bodies for aliens.
Yeah, I'd rather explode
Which
than
is
have
really-
the chest
yeah.
burst thing to
Here's
know I
my
got
thing.
an alien
Mhm.
inside of me.
You know me. We've been over this. Like, I don't want to live through a zombie apocalypse. I don't want to be a breeding cavity, like a chest breeding cavity for aliens.
Ugh, even
Like,
when you say it like that, disgusting.
I'm going to end it all before I get got.
If you are trying to chest burst me, guess what? I'm chest bursting myself first.
Exploding is a good way
But
to
maybe
go.
choose maybe, yeah, I think don't chest burst yourself, find something else.
Yeah,
but
immediate explode.
you're not going to be in that. Don't worry. There's face huggers aren't real and they can't.
That we
hurt
know
you.
of.
Yes.
That
Like,
we know.
what if that's what the government has found?
Oh God.
Maybe they found
They found a
xenomorph.
fucking
That would
xenomorph.
actually be really
no,
bad.
that'd be so bad. They find Predator. We got to do Predator on the pod. Then we can get into the AVP verse. I've never watched any of those except for the one that traumatized me that I've spoken about on the pod. Anyway, we're moving on. Trash Queen. Trash Queen.
Trash Queen.
Trash
I loved
Queen.
the egg minefield too that they just like wandered into, and then we see the Trash Queen and her
Big
disgusting little egg
her
sack.
yeah, I love that they start on the weird egg penis and then the pulsating egg penis. That's what it is. Sorry. And then
hate
or it's a
that.
big tube, fallopian tube. I don't know. It is. She is a woman, and I'm sorry for saying other things than that.
Well, we don't. We call her the alien queen, and so does the IMDb summary. But like, seahorse males carry their babies, so like we don't. I'm
That's
not.
true.
You
I'm
know,
no
a
biologist.
xenomorph biologist. Yeah, so we don't really know what the deal is with them. I think it's fine. Whatever. It could be a penis.
But that scene was
adjacent.
just fucking awesome. It was just a perfect reveal.
Yeah, it was like mommy to mommy.
Oh,
I would say though. So I do think she's a girl.
That's
yeah.
the
Wow.
whole-
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the big tropes
That's the whole
in this
thing,
is like
yeah.
motherhood. And also,
And that's why they have that like truce for a moment also, because the alien queen, Miss Trash Queen, she's like, I see that you could fuck my shit up with my babies here. And you know I could fuck your shit up with Newt that is clinging to you like a little spider monkey. So let's all just be cool
Mom to
for a
mom.
minute. But then as soon as one of the eggies opens, Ripley's like, sorry girl, truce is over.
do
Like
Oh.
that is gonna be a problem for me. That broke the truce. It's actually on you.
like, your baby just gave me the
you know,
ick,
it's just
and I'm not responsible for my actions.
gave me the ick. So I
Those little
gotta
scuttlers
dip.
will get you, so she had to do that. I
Yeah.
also just really liked Trash Queen's big fancy head, her big fancy headdress that she had on, like a crown. It was beautiful.
She did look better than all the other ones, you know.
She looked the fanciest and
more
the best,
powerful,
yes.
hotter, cooler. She commanded respect.
Yeah. I also
etc.
think they did a really good job. The elevator scene was very stressful because I was like, oh no, it's learned to use technology. Because she did hit both buttons. She hit both elevator buttons, so
Yeah.
that's why it came down. But that was like great, incredibly stressful. But when she gets up there and then
and there's like
ship
4
is
minutes left at that
gone,
point.
and
Yeah, and you're like, did Bishop leave? No, Bishop wouldn't do that. I believed in Bishop.
well, for a second I was like, oh, is he bad? I don't know. I doubted him in that second because I too was being syntheticist after the last movie.
They set us up.
Yeah, but then he's there. He's a homie. He comes back, and you think everything is gonna be a-okay, but you know there's got to be the alien always gets wedged into a little piece of something. That's its whole thing. It always gets snuggled in to part of the ship and gets on the bigger ship. That's its whole thing. It loves doing that.
Yeah. And apparently they literally had to take the tail off Miss Trash Queen to get her to fit in the elevator, and she still didn't really fit, so they just had to like hang black like material in the back to sort of movie magic it to make it look like they hadn't taken the back of the elevator off. But
so
yeah,
funny.
they fully removed her tail and then just like popped it back on a moment later so she could scorpion right through Bishop.
Yeah. Oh my god. I mean that was so good when they finally get back on the main ship and she's like being like, truce with synthetics. You rock, Bishop. You rock hard. And then explode. That's the best rip apart. I'm sorry. That's the best rip apart. My vote is for Bishop.
Yeah,
It's so good.
for best kill.
It's so good.
Well, it's not even a kill. It's just an attack, thank God.
Best rip it
'Cause
part.
she, like, tears his half body back onto the ship to go home with her.
Yeah.
Because he's a synthetic.
Yeah,
They'll build him a new
He's
bow in half.
fine. He was still alive that whole time. But yeah, there's so many things that frustrated me about this last part. I'm just like, I get it, Newt, that you love to go in a little hole, but like fucking go through the door this one goddamn time. The one time you could go run into the rest of the ship, but you go into the floor and it's not even that type of floor like in the last ship you were in where you cannot pull the pieces off to get underneath it. The pieces just come right off. I was so mad at her. But also I love her. But this is the most epic ending like ever. This action sequence where Sigourney Weaver turns into a transformer essentially is
Right.
so fucking sick. It's
Mighty
so good.
Morphin Sigourney Weavers.
Yeah, it was literally like it was so badass earlier in the movie where she's like, "Oh yeah, I can use one of those big liftatron things." There's a name for it. I don't remember what it is.
Power
lifter.
Mech suit.
Yeah. She's like, "Yeah, I can use that." And she like picks up the thing and she's like, "Where do you want it?" And they're like, "Ooh."
And
hot,
then the gentleman
hot.
laughed, and I was like, "What are you laughing about?"
They're
men?"
laughing
But
about
I
how
guess
it was
it was
hot.
an impressed laughter.
This was the inspiration for Pacific Rim, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, I would fully
No,
buy
it
that.
literally probably is. That's
This was also the inspiration for the moment in Harry Potter where Molly Weasley goes, "Not my daughter, you bitch,"
Yep.
after Sigourney Weaver said, "Get away from her,
it
you bitch."
totally was.
I fully believe.
No, 100%.
I fully
'Cause
believe.
that's-
Mommy to mom. Yeah, that's like a whole thing.
That's like the most iconic line in this entire movie, and that's gotta be like J.K. Rowling. Curse the
She
name.
plagiarized it. That's
Yeah.
the rumor we're spreading.
She-
Except actually UK libel laws are like funky, so that's a rumor, but we are spreading it.
It's not true, but
It's a rumor.
you could see
But
if you could
I heard a
see
rumor
my
that she plagiarized
face
it.
right now, you'd know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, that final fight scene, I was yelling. I watched it this morning at like 6 a.m. because I fell asleep last night. Sorry, I was a long movie and I had one glass of wine, so
This
it was
movie
over
is
for me.
so long.
It didn't feel long to me,
Yes, it
but I
did.
fell asleep. For me, it didn't. It really didn't. But I did fall asleep when Sigourney Weaver and Newt were having their like emotional talk, and I was like, "Oh, I'm such a bitch." Like
Mm.
they're having their one moment, and I was like, "No action, me sleep
I'm like,
now."
"Promise?" Yeah. You promise you'll come back?
But yeah, it was a great pump up. Like I really recommend watching the end of this at the beginning of your day because I was like, "Fucking jazz."
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, get it. And I took that energy through the whole day. 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Inspirational.
Yeah, I mean, I loved that once again, opening the airlock or whatever is at least part of what saves the day, and things are just getting sucked out. But I love that half-body Bishop was like grabbing onto Newt and keeping her from getting sucked into space. He was really coming through, got torn in half, and is still putting in the work.
Is he MVP besides Sigourney? Besides Ripley.
Yeah, I mean, Sigourney, obviously MVP.
Yeah, he's second.
But other than Ripley, for sure, half-body Bishop MVP for sure.
And full body Bishop, just Bishop in general. He does
Full
do that
body
shimmy
Bishop,
shake
for
through the
sure.
pipe, you know?
But yeah, I mean, I love that she just immediately, as soon as they're all on this ship and they're flying away to safety, Ripley immediately is like, back to my tank top undie combo.
have to wear
over
that.
all these other outfits. I am ready to be in my undies.
That's the uniform for being in the little sleep canister. That's not what it's called. But you have to wear a sexy little tank top. It's just the rules.
And she got an oversized shirt for Newt, which is the classic best like kid PJ outfit when you just have one of like dad's t-shirts or whatever. Yeah.
Oh man, this movie fucking rocks. Yeah, it's so good. Well, should we move to our segments now?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Awesome. How could we make this movie gayer?
Vasquez Butch.
I mean, yes, but there is like a canonical trans character in this franchise. Lambert from the first
from the first movie.
When Sigourney Weaver is like they're briefing her and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, is that where the canon of it comes from that part?
It says had her gender altered from male to female. Like it's literally in the movie. If you like read it.
Love that.
That's so
Love that.
awesome.
I knew about that, and I think we talked about that last time, but I wasn't sure like where in the canon that had come from and come in, if it was like a video game thing or whatever it was.
Nope, it's in Aliens.
That's
Wow.
so good. I love that so much.
Retroactively, we're like, guess what? Trans representation.
Retcon. The
which
good types of retcon.
We'll take whatever we can get. Yeah.
Two good retcons.
Yeah, I
in
love
this. that. Yeah, I mean, Vasquez is so gay. And I thought that she also had a little bit of a vibe with the other girl, but she immediately died. So there's no time.
I think she had a little bit of a vibe with Ripley in
Yeah.
the sense of there was like that little bit of flirtation sort of in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's
the
also
5
like
seconds.
light butch. Know what I mean? If Vasquez is like butch, Ripley's like light butch. Butch light.
Ripley very much was giving like Joe from Muna in this movie, where she has almost very similar Josette hair, and she's wearing the tank top. I could see her in that like rhinestone butch tank top that Joe wore at some point this summer, and then everybody was DIYing their own on TikTok.
I love
Like that was
Joe.
what she was giving in this movie.
Joe and I share the same jacket, and it's vintage, so very rare.
Whoa.
Anyway, I'm very excited about it.
Probably just the two of you, probably nobody else in the world.
Okay, well, I've never seen anyone else wear it, and I'm places all the
Exactly.
time.
I've seen a lot of people out and about.
Yeah,
and
I've
none of them were wearing
seen-
that jacket other than Joe.
I've seen thousands upon thousands of people, and I've only seen Joe and I.
Mhm.
No, I
But
feel
yeah,
that
I mean,
energy.
Ripley, obviously, we talked about her being gay on our Alien episode as well. But there were some dialogue, like the Arcturian poontang, the one you had was male, doesn't matter when it's Arcturian, baby. Like, that's pretty gay. There was that moment where one of the guys was like, "Hey, Vasquez, you ever been mistaken for a man?" And she said, "No, have you?" And then Drake, I think, said, "Hey, that's too bad." And so again, once their flirting is like he's having sex with her in a gay way and she's having sex with him in a gay way, I think. Like they're just is it a male-female relationship? Yes, that doesn't mean it's not gay.
Okay,
So
but
true.
that quote where like have you been assumed as a man? What is it? Like mistaken for a man?
Have you ever been mistaken for a
It's
man?
actually
Mhm.
a quote from like a older movie or an older interview with Tallulah Bankhead, and somebody asked her, and that was her response, and so it's been put
that's
in
meta.
like a bunch of movies.
I love that. That's so good. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've got some like very obviously queer coded characters in this. I love it.
Aliens
Vasquez
gay.
supremacy. Vasquez
They
supremacy.
do butch coding for any woman in the Alien films, it feels like.
Yeah.
Maybe not Newt's mom, but other than that.
Yeah, no. Oh, Newt's mom in the deleted scene. I was like, that's not Natasha Lyonne. But for a second, I thought it was her, and I don't know why. I don't know. I was like, whoa, and then I was like,
So she's
She was,
maybe
like,
giving queer energy
4.
a little bit too after all.
well, okay, Natasha Lyonne allegedly straight, horrible, wrong. I'm taking it off the
Uh.
record. I didn't say it. It's not true.
I refuse to acknowledge.
Okay, that brings us to Matthew Lillard. Where would he fit into this film? He was alive.
You would do a great Hudson.
He was alive at this time. He could be Newt, but a boy.
Oh,
Timmy.
Timmy.
the
In the
brother.
deleted scene.
Oh yeah, he could be Timmy.
He could be in the deleted scene, the little kid that's on the tricycle.
Oh, yeah.
That was a Shining reference if I've ever seen one.
Right.
Yeah,
That is
right?
so funny. That's a little on the nose, honestly.
I would have liked an older Matthew Lillard as who was it? Drake, the one who Vasquez has like the fun flirty,
Mm,
like
yeah.
her
straight,
blondie
but we're
boyfriend.
actually neither of us are straight kind of vibe, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I would like.
What is that movie that he's in that none of us has seen called like Flight Command or something? It's like him and Freddie Prinze Jr. and they're like plane guys.
Whoa.
I've not seen it.
What?
I'm 99% sure that's the thing. Hold on. I will fact check myself. If I'm wrong, then you never heard
Okay, I'm gonna-
that in your life. You never
It's
heard
called
that.
Flight Guy.
What did I say it was called?
Flight Guys.
It's not, it's not actually called Flight Guys.
You're like, it's called Flight Guys or something.
Hold on, I gotta go back. He's done so much fucking voiceover shit for Scooby-Doo. I have to go back so far.
I know.
Mhm. 13
Summer
girls.
Catch.
Wing Commander. If that's not
Ah,
Flight Guys,
Flight
I
Guys.
don't know what is. That is Flight Guys. That's Flight Guys.
That is Flight Guys.
He is
Flame Guys, Flight
Lieutenant
Guys, Wing
Todd
Commander.
Maniac Marshall. So he
Whoa.
could totally
Okay,
bring,
call
yeah,
sign.
no, he could totally bring that Bill Paxton energy to this movie. You know, we already had Bill Paxton, and I would never take him out of this. But if we need to call in some backup, you know, if we need another silly,
He could have
goofy guy,
been-
then Matthew Lillard would have
Yeah.
been great in that.
He could have been interesting as Gorman, maybe. This is the like lieutenant who's just on the cameras, who's like kind of sweating it out because he's never seen real action before. He could have been. Oh, I'm sure he would have done a great job as Burke, but I think the guy who was Burke was so amazing as Burke because I hated him so much. And apparently, his performance in this film was so convincingly despicable that his sister slapped him at the premiere when she saw the movie. Is that true? I don't know, but that's on IMDb trivia, so it's true to me.
It's true. I just want Matthew to be like, not commander. I don't know. What are they called? Not lieutenant. Lieutenant's too high up. Agent number 5. Private. There we go. Private number 5 or whatever in this, and just to stick his tongue out.
He could be one. He's so tall. He could be one of the xenomorphs.
Yep. That's it. He's
He
the little
is.
face inside the big face. He's one of the dancers.
He is the little face. That's so him.
He's one of the dancers. He's one of the dancers.
He's a dancers.
A dancer. Okay. Does that bring us to dumb bitch?
I think there's really only one obvious choice for dumb bitch. I mean, I don't think it is at all up for debate in this movie, although I'm willing to hear other nominations.
Like,
No,
Gorman's
there are
dumb,
none.
but Burke is the biggest bitch on record.
I guess you could nominate the whole, what is it, Wayland Yutani company as a whole
called
or
The
something like that,
Company.
because the
I don't know.
company,
They call it
because
The
he's
Company.
working on like company orders presumably, but it seems like he's working for personal financial gain,
Yeah.
and not company
No.
gain.
Well, he literally
And
says
also
to Ripley, like, we could make it big, you know? He tries to convince her to get in on
we'd be
it. Yeah.
famous. And she says, like, I don't know who's worse, you or the xenomorphs, but at least the xenomorphs aren't selling each other out for half a percentage.
Yeah. He's the biggest bitch. He's the dumb bitch.
He's
Fuck
yeah.
him. I wish he had
He's
been ripped to
both
shreds.
dumb and a big old bitch, and he deserved worse than he got.
Yep. 100%. All right. Well, that
He deserved to be slapped by his sister at the premiere.
exactly.
Amen.
That brings us to our knives out of 5s. So set the scene for us, Chelsea.
Well, I was a little surprised to see that this movie only has an 8.4 out of 10 on IMDb. I don't really know why
good.
that would be. Yes, but on Rotten Tomatoes, it has 98% fresh from critics and 94% fresh from audiences, which is
That's
a significant jump.
Yeah.
It's a 10 percentage point jump. But also it was up for 7 different Oscars in the year 1987. It was nominated for Best Actress for Sigourney Weaver, Best Art Direction slash Set Decoration, Best Sound, Best Film Editing, and Best Music Original Score. And it won 2 Oscars for Best Visual Effects and Best Sound Effect Editing.
Wow.
So it was
Oscar-winning.
a very, super popular with audiences, super popular with critics, incredible production work on it. This was the Sigourney Weaver's Best Actress nomination was like the first in the actress category, at least, nomination for like a sci-fi role. So in that way, it started to like break barriers a little bit too about like what could be considered so prestige. So
damn.
that's cool.
That's super cool. Yeah, I mean, this movie is well known for fucking slapping.
For being a
And
banger.
also
Yeah.
being one of the very few like incredible sequels, you know. Usually people fumble the bag, especially for the second movie, Sophomore Slump, you know.
It's hard. It's hard.
super hard, but I think that James Cameron did such a good job because he didn't try to reinvent the wheel. He did his own different take on it. And it really, really paid off. Also I will share right now also when he pitched the name Aliens, he wrote the S as a dollar sign. And it's giving Kesha. But
It is giving
he was
Kesha.
trying to be cheeky and be like, yeah, there's gonna be more aliens, and
We're gonna
also
make
we're
so
gonna
much
make
money
a
if you
lot
let
of
me do the
fucking money.
sequel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly that shit. So I think that that's funny. Don't like that he was a dick.
I thought you
though.
were gonna say he did the S as a 2.
No, that'd be terrible.
A backwards 2.
I just like that. I also think it's fucking awesome that the first one's called Alien and this one's called Aliens. I just think it's awesome. I just think
Yes.
it's iconic. I just think
Yeah,
that it's great.
I agree.
It's hard. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna give it 2 separate scores because like knowing what is in the director's cut
Knowing what got cut out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
makes me pissed off because I think it would have made it a deeper movie overall. That said, I have not watched it with that runtime, and it could have been so long that I got lost in the middle, you know, because like sometimes the pacing gets weird. So I can't say for sure. So I'm gonna give the theatrical a 4.9, and I'm gonna give the director's cut a 5, though I've not seen it. So you can just give it a 5. How about a 4.95? How about that? It's a high score, but I don't know. I just love this franchise so much. I even like the bad ones. I was talking to Leo. There's a lot of contention about Prometheus and Covenant, and I liked both of them. But I also haven't seen Alien 3, so maybe after seeing that, it would
Who
change
knows?
everything. But I love Aliens. I love the way that this whole franchise is so creative. This was super fun. And yeah, I loved it.
I'm trying to find what I gave Alien.
Oh, I can find what you gave
Okay.
Alien. You gave Alien a 4. I gave Alien a 4, and Monica gave it a 4.55555555.
Wow, I can't believe I gave it a 4.55555. It deserves way higher than that. If I'm giving this one a 4.9, I take it back. It's 4.7. I'm putting it down lower. It's not better than Alien.
It's not
Ugh.
better than Alien, and
It's not better
Sometimes
than
your mood
Alien.
changes.
it's not better than Alien. And I
Alien's
was
way
right
better.
on my assumption that I was absolutely going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. I was so like I was bored during this movie. Like
yeah, there's like a lot of
but here's the
military
thing.
stuff that's like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's an action movie.
It's an action movie, and Alien is like a really like. And here's the thing: this action movie does have like really good, like it creates a lot of tension and like a lot of suspense, but it's still an action movie, and it's like a mommy action movie too. So it's
I love that.
I like
love
the
action
mommy.
movies, though.
See, if I want like a horror movie and I get an action movie, I don't like an action movie. And Alien to me should be like a horror franchise.
Yeah, I think it was like it was a choice he made on purpose to make it less of a horror movie so it would be compared less to Alien. And I want to change mine to 4.5 because there's no way that I'm on the record saying that Aliens is better than Alien. I will not do that. So I'm changing it to fucking 4.5 and I'm sticking to that.
I will say a lot of people on Reddit do agree that Aliens is like a lot more watchable than Alien, like rewatchable. It doesn't
make you want to die quite so much. So I get that.
Right? Like, so again, I would rather watch Alien over Alien. So I'm going to give this a 3.5.
Okay, well, I don't know why I gave Alien a 4. I simply do not recall. It was like 2 years ago now, honestly,
that was our
I think.
season 1 finale.
Crazy long time. But I really enjoyed this. It was super actiony, and there was a lot of the time where I was kind of just like, okay. But there were, I thought, some good spooky moments. I love a mommy-daughter movie. So again, I think it's hard to give this movie too good of a score knowing what they cut out and what that would have added to the film and the depth it would have given Ripley's journey, and like the moment where Newt calls her mommy, where like that would have really cemented something that like isn't necessarily there to that degree in the film as it exists. But I do think it was pretty good. So I'm not gonna compare it to my Alien score because I don't recall her reasoning. That was a different Chelsea. She didn't even have pink hair.
That was still
So
brown hair,
I'm gonna go
Chelsea?
ahead. I don't fucking know that, bitch. I'm gonna go ahead and give Aliens 4.5 knives out of 5s because I thought it was a banger. I love more Ripley. I love that so much of it was about her and her journey and like her sort of recovery after. Like, I just love when a sequel is dealing with the emotional impact of the first movie instead of just being like, anyway, here's the character again on a new adventure. So I thought it was really great. I thought it was like an amazing sequel, the way that they were following through on a lot of that stuff. So 4.5 knives.
Nice. Awesome. Well, that brings us to a close on Aliens. But it is just the first week of Alien Month. There's more aliens coming at you, and Chelsea will report what's next.
Yes, I'm so excited. This is a movie that I don't think that any of us have seen, but it is a movie. It is a movie that my mommy has been asking why we haven't done it yet since basically as soon as we started this podcast.
The creation of
because
this
I guess
pod.
she watched it when she was a child, and so she's always like, when are you gonna do The Blob from the 50s? And this actually wasn't on our original Alien Month lineup at first. It's a late minute substitution, but it just feels right.
It does.
We've only done one other movie from the 50s, so I'm excited to throw it back a little farther.
I have so many gaps with the like classics, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, I just also think like One Big Blob Alien is going to be an interesting comparison, especially to something like Aliens where there's so many aliens. You know what I mean? I'm curious to see it. I'm so interested to see what they were working with at the time. So we are doing 1958's The Blob.
I'm excited because I haven't seen it either, but I have seen the remake from like what, the 80s. I think it's
The 80s.
The 80s.
Yeah, and that was hilarious time. So I can only imagine what it's even gonna look like from the 50s. They could do a bunch of stuff back then, but it'll look different. And I'm excited. It's gonna be fun.
I can't
Aliens
wait.
come in all forms. But yeah, okay. Do we want our poll question to be the which half body is the best half body from the last month of the pod? Or do we have any other actual aliens related poll questions we would like to put on the
This
poll?
is aliens related.
It is. I think it's a really good question. Check out the poll and cast your vote.
Who's your favorite? Or who's the sexiest? Why am I on this?
Who's the sexiest / best / scariest?
I'm
Whatever.
I'm the best,
your voice
sexy,
heard.
scariest half body you've ever seen in your entire life.
Exactly, bitch.
What if like I could make the poll question like which one is the best, and then I can make the question because there's just a Q&A question. Be like, but which one do you think is the sexiest? Right in and
Who's the
why?
hottest and
Also
why?
say why.
Right, in 500 words. Yeah.
Okay, done. That's what we're doing.
500-word essay.
500-word essay starting now. Oh, perfect. And while you're typing that up, you can think, wow, I love it when my podcast assigns me homework. I need to do some more homework. Extra credit. Your extra credit is giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or a 5-star rating on Spotify. We're so close to 100 on Spotify. Go do it, please. For me, for my mental well-being. I think about it all the time. I do think about it all the time.
It haunts her. She needs those numbers.
I need those numbers. I'm also thinking about our number of subscribers on YouTube all the time. We are so close to 150 right now. That means we're even closer to 200, but let's start with 150. So subscribe at spooky_Tuesday. Funny that I say at spooky_Tuesday. That's also our handle on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. We're also on Facebook and Tumblr at Spooky Tuesday Pod.
That
Oh, thank you so much.
Very, very elegant.
Aren't you glad I do this live every time instead of pre-recording it like a normal person would?
It's my favorite
we're
thing that you do.
There's always room for improv.
This
I
is
love
what
it.
I do for the pod. Is this segment only? This is what I bring to the table. But also we're on Letterboxd at Spooky Tuesday. And then finally, I will say to you, thank you for listening and see you next Tuesday.
Bye,
Aliens
Spooky.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Haidt, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamara, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at the_moon_OMG.